Development Authority Board of Directors, Thursday, May 21st, 2020. It is 5 p.m. Could we have a roll call and determination of quorum, please, Susan?
Chairperson Burgess.
Here.
Vice Chairperson Reard is excused. Treasurer Shell. Secretary Caruso.
Here.
Member Barnett is excused. Member Cole.
Here.
Member Horvath. Member Squarsha.
Here.
Member Van Fortley is excused, and Member Young. We have a quorum.
He's here.
I'm here.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Molly, could you read the statement, purpose of meeting, please?
Yes. The purpose of this meeting is to reassess the 2020 DDA priorities and review the first draft of the Lake Orion Reemergence and Recovery Plan.
Thank you. Now on to items for consideration. Number 1, annual DDA priorities reassessment.
Okay. Kristen, if you want to move over to the My Safe Start plan, here we go. And if you move to the overview, we've got a lot of guests here with us. So let's start with overview. This is our work plan that we've been, that has already been approved and looked at, and our budget was based upon it. On the left-hand side, you can see the priorities that were set by the DDA board in January were pedestrian safety and lighting, parking and alternatives, walkability, and the farmers market. We've had a lot of input from businesses, due to the changes that have been going on. If you move over to ideas and projects, Kristen. Thank you. You can see that we've got some more ideas in place that are probably perhaps in line with what we have going on. There's a lot of health and safety, things that we can add. There's a lot of how do we do an event and have social distancing? What kind of things can we do to entice people into downtown? So that is what we're looking at today. I'm going to direct you guys all to menti.com. Actually, I guess maybe before we do that, maybe we should just real quickly look at the priorities that are, or the projects that are listed on here, and see if there's anything that we need to add that hasn't been added. And for those of you who are having trouble reading it, do you want me to just read it out loud? Just kind of quick? Okay. All right. A new Atwater Park sign that's from the Village Council that matches the rest of the signs in the village. The park signs, the new park branding that we did. Outdoor dining, can we rent or buy tables and chairs for all the sidewalks in the parks? Outdoor speakers, hand sanitizer stations throughout town. Additional or replacement trees for downtown. Put the hometown holidays lights up in the trees for the summer. Add a dumpster enclosure in Front Street. I mean, that's kind of already on the plan, but okay. Add a sidewalk along Evergreen Cemetery. For those of you who aren't sure, Evergreen Cemetery is the cemetery on M24. And right across the front of it, along M24, it does not currently have a sidewalk. Add rain gardens to Children's Park and Greens Park. We did an assessment through a nonprofit organization whose name I don't remember right now. And they made some suggestions of how we could make improvements to both Children's Park and Greens Park to help mitigate erosion and protect the creeks, the waterways. and rain gardens was one of the smaller projects that was involved. From the council is established historic character guidelines, solar light retrofits for the downtown area, surveys or public interest opinions, surveys, special interest surveys presented quarterly to the DDA board because things are changing quickly. We think maybe we need to just keep asking questions. Construction Blues Night. We kind of took it off the table because we didn't think we were going to be allowed to have large gatherings. Do businesses want to stay open late? Or are we going to, put that back on the table? Farmers Market, including an idea of like having the farmers market exist because we have a CSA pickup or, a pre-order of market boxes, and have the farmers market exist because of those orders and kind of build around it. Close downtown for an extended block party and have a notice shuttle coming in. Do this Thursday through Sunday all summer. A farmers market online order software, and this is how the pre-order would work. This is what some other farmers markets are doing. They all of the vendors are considered departments, and they put a list of what they sell in their department, and then they can pay electronically, and they pay with one payment, but all of the amounts are dispersed to the departments or vendors. And that is something that we could do that would make it easier for our farmers market to be virtual and have online ordering. Concert in Greens Park. The idea for this one is pointed out onto the lake. Have a concert for people in their boats. If the kayak rental person is still in the park, then it wouldn't have to be just the people who own boats and live on the lake. It could also be people who rent kayaks. How about having a welcome weekend that combines several different things together? Should we put the full gazebo concert schedule back on the books? Do we want to have a Downtown on the Trail event? This requires business involvement. It would be the downtown businesses putting a table out on the Paint Creek Trail where there's lots of room to distance and doing some business out there. Do we want to have a pet parade, a pet night, some kind of pet social hour? And do we want to add an online technical grant to help businesses upgrade their websites to include e-commerce and other technology that they deem necessary in order to do business in the new times that we have here? Did we miss any? Can you take the presentation down for a second, please, Kristen? Here we go. Are there any ideas that were missed? Hello, Elena. Hello, Joan. Go ahead, Liz.
Yeah, did you say anything about the sound? Did I miss that?
Oh, I'm sorry, the sound isn't on that list, but it's on the interactive part. Yes, you're right. Downtown music, speakers that broadcast music around town. Yes, okay. It's on the list. Anybody, anything else? How about you guys on the phone? You're all muted, so. Okay. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on to the next phase. So for this part, you'll need your phone. Oops. All right. we were starting at the very beginning. Nope. All right. All right. So first, go to menti.com using your phone, please.
How do you spell that? Can you show us?
It's on the top. Am I presenting? Do you guys see my screen?
No, you took it away.
I did. Okay. There we go. Menti.com. MENTI.com. And then enter the code 67790. All right. And when you get there, go ahead and pick 3 things that you would like the DDA to focus on this year.
From that list?
Nope. Nope.
Safety,
This is completely
parking.
based on what you want. Anything that you want. What do you want the DDA to focus on this year? Pretend we have a blank slate here.
Did I get that code again?
Sure, it is 67790.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, as more people press that submit button, more comes in. I mean, this is a word cloud, so theoretically, if we happen to manage to use the same words, they would show up, but. Walkability, safety, clean up on the weekend. All right. Debbie, have you been able to log into menti.com?
Yes, do you have a code?
Yes, 67790. Oh, generate excitement. I like that. The person who said sound system in the villa, does the village, I guess that's probably the village, isn't it? It shortens up. All right. We're going to move on to the next question, all right? I just wanted to make sure everyone got in. Uh-oh. Hold on. Moving slower than I think. All right, here we go. All right, so these are placemaking ideas. These are new, and you have 100 points. You need to kind of place your 100 points anywhere you want, anyhow you want, and then press submit. And they've got a plus 10 button that you can use.
Molly, this is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Will these points be used on another screen as well, or are these 100 points just for this screen?
It's just for this screen.
Okay, thanks.
That was a good question. Thank you.
Hey,
Is there another question?
yeah, it's Alan.
Hi, Alan.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. The hometown holidays lights, are those?
Yes.
I'm not sure what that is.
Those are the lights in the trees.
Okay. So that wouldn't be just for the holidays, it would be all the time at night?
Well, what's been suggested is that we put those up during the summer. Most of the activities that we're kind of talking about are actually summer related. Because the existing things that we have later on in the fall and the winter probably we'll be able to adapt them, or they'll remain the same. All right, for those of you on the phone, at the moment, we've got outdoor speakers in downtown hitting the top of the list, followed by outdoor dining, followed by hand sanitizers, and then last, there's the block party and putting up the lights. All right, so the next one, this is kind of placing it, how much impact you think it will have and how much effort will it take for us to get it done. So if you look in the bottom corner where there's a dark square, that means not very much effort and not very much impact, all the way up to the white square in the upper right. That would be a whole bunch of impact and a whole bunch of effort. And on your page, each section is going to have you rate both the effort and the impact. And it's the dots are according to like outdoor dining is blue and outdoor speakers are pink.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I'm confused.
You want me to explain again?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so the on your phone, each item has two lines. You pull the dot according to whether it's low or high. You kind of pull the dot along the string.
Right.
And that places the dot for you on the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Lisa and Alan and Tim, I'm really sorry I muted you. So just know that you need to unmute if you want to talk to us, okay? Okay. It's interesting, placemaking overall, everyone kind of feels like it's going to have a good impact regardless of what we do. For those of you who are listening on the phone, outdoor dining and outdoor speakers appear to, everyone thinks that that's going to have the most impact. And everything is going to take some effort, according to us. That's our opinion. All right, 59. Okay, so these are kind of infrastructure and streetscape kind of things, you know, what we are, you know, what additions can we make to the physical parts of the downtown? And this will be done exactly the same way. How much effort and how much impact?
So what are rain gardens? Is that a dumb question?
Excuse me. Whoops. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was describing the wrong chart. This is the one where you have 100 points and you need to divide it up amongst these projects. Someone had a question?
Yeah. What are rain gardens?
All right. A rain garden is it's a garden that has plants in it that suck up the water really well. And they are used, they're used for places to slow down the water entering, like our creek or our lake, in areas where maybe puddles usually form or there's a lot of runoff. You put a rain garden in there because that slows it down. I mean, that's my non-expert version of what the experts say.
Yeah, I actually had one installed in my backyard because we had some problems with some flooding, and that's what it did. It held the water, and it's plants that can withstand a lot of water, and they put gravel and sand, and it stops that erosion.
Thank you, Monica.
It's also to help not have parking lot runoff directly into the creek. It would go to a garden area and the water would filter through that garden area and then to the creek in a natural way.
Molly, can you explain the Grant Antwater Park sign?
Oh, sure. All right. There is a Parks and Rec millage through the township, and we end up capturing some of those funds, and we just redirect those funds directly to the Parks and Rec. But the DDA has been, they kind of, at the beginning of the fiscal year, they direct how they would like the money to be used. So last year, they requested that the money be used as the matching funds, towards matching funds for a grant, whatever the grant is. The Atwater sign is, the signs are they were about $11,000 a piece. And, we could probably do a lightened up version of this sign, but it's enough money that probably we need to say that we're redirecting those funds in order to pay for the sign, rather than having it go towards the grant. Or having parts of it or something along those lines. So that's what that is. Okay. For those of you on the phone who can't see, maybe, the dumpster enclosure along Front Street, let me just explain what that is. On Front Street, we've got, in that quadrant over there, there's Sagebrush, CJ's, Anita's Kitchen, and Bitter Tom's, all kind of sharing the same, limited dumpsters. So, we think that it's, and I guess everyone else does, everyone here in this meeting, feels that dumpster enclosure is pretty important. And then after that, the solar light retrofitting in downtown, that one came from the village council. And then getting the Atwater sign fixed, and which is tied with adding the sidewalk along Evergreen Cemetery. And then the last two in order are replacing the trees and adding a rain garden. All right, now we move on to our priority matrix, where there are a sliding scale for each of the items.
Hey Molly, I know I was late, but what's the idea behind closing streets downtown?
I think I accidentally stuck that in there. That is, the idea was that we needed to create an environment where people could social distance. So why don't we close down the streets, and have the businesses do put a table outside their door, and just close so everyone can walk, freely apart from each other.
I do want to say that many other communities are doing that. Traverse City is closing Front Street, and Cincinnati's closing their downtown streets. And I still just want to say my opinion again, that people are going to feel more comfortable outdoors than they are indoors. And a lot of our stores don't have very big spaces to let people into the stores and social distance and all that. I think it's easier to close streets, particularly Tim and I have talked about this before. Tim, what's the section? So the section there in front of Sagebrush and between
Broadway closed between Front and Flint.
Broadway closed between Front and Flint. And you could close it with very little effort, where the fire trucks could still get through there if they needed to. And it would give people an opportunity to walk around. The businesses could sell their things. But I mean, we have to look at other downtowns are closing their streets. Front Street in Traverse City is their main thoroughfare, and they're closing that so that the merchants can sell their wares outside where people are going to feel more comfortable.
And that's almost 8 blocks.
Yeah, I actually like the idea. I just wasn't clear on what it was.
Yeah.
I'm good.
All right,
Hey,
so
Molly?
that was Alan Getz. Yes.
This is Lisa. My concern is that wasn't on the list that we just did prior.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe it's coming up. I know that I got it in here. I promise I did.
Okay.
Holly, this is Lloyd. I'd like to reiterate a couple of things that Alan said. What I could envision is Broadway being closed between Front and Flint, and Broadway also being closed between Flint and Shadbolt. And I could see, restaurants. That way, you're leaving Flint Street open, for the fire truck and everything.
Agreed.
I could see the restaurants setting up their business in the streets and the merchants on the sidewalks, because you kind of have to look at which merchants are downtown and who's going to be open and things like that. So it's just something else to take into consideration. And it's also a discussion where you almost have to include the Sagebrush also, and CJ's and to get them to buy off and want to be able to do something like that as well.
Well, I just want to comment that, so Sagebrush is doing well on takeout, but they surely don't have a ton of outdoor dining. They have a very small outdoor dining, so they might appreciate the opportunity to seat more people.
Right.
I'm not
Yeah.
positive.
To me, one of the biggest thing to jump over is the alcoholic beverage thing, on how people still be able to get served outside. I don't know if you'd have to have, an area. That's why I was saying the restaurant in the street, because you may need to chain off an area for the Sagebrush, chain off an area for CJ's, and so forth,
So Lloyd, State Representative Mike Weber, who's in Rochester Hills, introduced legislation today or yesterday to create what they're calling district. And then within the district, you could have open alcohol.
Yeah, that would be a great thing to.
They gotta do that.
Yeah,
That
we
was
need to
Elena
call-
Campbell, Susan, okay? Guys, could you please say your names before you speak in case Susan needs to know? All right, I'm gonna go back to our screen here, okay?
I'm trying.
Does anyone else have a comment, or can I go back to the screen? All right, for those of you on the phone, we've got the brighter or more directed light on our pathways and lighted crosswalks, kind of taking the lead, and then additional lighting as needed for where there isn't light in pathways. So that's how that one got split up.
Molly, this
Yes.
is Lisa.
Yes.
On that additional lighting needed for pedestrian pathways,
Mhm.
if as we start building additional parking spots, like the two that are over by the Methodist Church, having lighting in those areas becomes kind of critical. Not so much in the summer, but the rest of the year.
Excellent. Okay. Yes. All right. So we just so you guys know, we just got the lighting installed by DTE. There's two lights in that parking lot, and the DDA has been talking to the township. We're kind of getting some paperwork together in order to have an easement for a pathway going across there. I'm going to not worry about this. Let's see. Well, I guess, all right, let's just do this one fast. I don't know if I can skip screens or not. I'm going to try to skip the screen because they're all important and they're all going to take effort.
Yeah, I don't get the value.
And Lisa, this is the first time I've used this. This is a product that I found because we are in a virtual setting. Normally I'd have everyone walking around the room with stickers. So
It's really cool. I've used it before in other settings. It's very helpful.
thank you.
Molly,
Yes.
could I just clarify for the group, because I know everyone wasn't part of the conversation. The idea of the Greens Park concerts was that it would include the downtown businesses and have an opportunity for people to come downtown, grab takeout from any of the restaurants or bars or whatever that they could get takeout and then walk over to the park. There's still quite a bit of outdoor area there for pedestrians to walk in. And then also delivery. The thought would be that maybe we could put up a banner that says, here, supporting our downtown businesses, call such and such for Sagebrush, call such and such for Oat Soda, and have them delivered to the boats at either the public dock or the dock inside of Greens Park, so that it's easier for, we go out on the lake a lot. It's, if you can't park at the public dock, it'd be really nice just to have everybody's phone number right there and have delivery to the dock in Greens Park. And I think a lot of the merchants would appreciate that. And then just, especially if we're not going to do the fireworks, just something for people to do.
And this was actually a concert series. It wasn't just one concert. It was kind of like taking the gazebo music series in Children's Park, but doing it in Greens Park, and kind of pointing the musicians, having them pointed out at the lake for a boating audience. Or at least that was what was described originally, Alan. That's why I made it that way. So,
and also for people in the park. But I wasn't really, instead of the gazebos, it was, I thought in addition to on Friday nights.
Okay. And Molly, just one other thing, this is Lisa. A couple things that I've seen in some of the parks do is that they have actually spray painted circles where people can sit, and then there's a 6-foot push out, and then another circle would be there so that families could sit in this circle or square area, and then there's 6 feet in any direction away from the next one. So you can do something like that really easily with spray paint in the grass.
Nice.
Like we did for our Candyland game.
This is Monica. I've already seen that 313 is delivering 2 boats on the water or at the dock. They're already doing that.
So it's Oat Soda, and Bitter Tom's does some of that stuff. There's a couple restaurants that are doing it now.
Awesome.
That is beautiful. All right. So for those of you on the phone, number 1 is the welcome weekend, combining several different events. And then after that, it's a concert in Greens Park with the boater audience. And then after that, it's putting back the full gazebo concerts. And then less popular was the construction blues night, which depends on businesses staying open late. Downtown on the trail, which has the businesses going out into the parks, and then the pet parade.
Hey, Molly?
Yes.
Just a comment, this is Lisa again. On the being on the trail right now with businesses, the only concern I have about that one is that with businesses really being to almost skeletons of what they've been, the expectation to have them be able to put people out on the trail just kind of concerns me, that they're going to be able to do that. And they've got to carry all their stuff. And when they're limited on staffing, that might be a hard ask in the first month or 2.
My guess is is what everyone was kind of considering. Really, the concerts and the welcome weekend overall were the most important things for the group that we have here. And the ones that were really depending upon businesses doing some extra things were less prioritized. Okay, so right now, everyone agrees that, the concerts and the welcome weekend and, downtown on the trail would, take quite a bit of effort. However, the music concerts and the welcome weekend would have, the most impact. Moving on. All right, this is talking about grants, about support that we can give to the businesses. Hey, for those of you who are on the line, do you know about our Patronicity crowdfunding campaign? It's on our downtown page. We're raising money through Patronicity. It's an online campaign, and I have pledged to stripe put a stripe of green in my hair for every $1,000 raised. We are trying to raise $25,000. It will go directly to businesses who apply, for business assistance during this time of the COVID pandemic. So that is one kind of support, and that is the first $4,000 will be matched by Main Street Oakland County. You can go to either our website or the Facebook Downtown Lake Orion page to find that, and please share it with everybody. Please, they can help out businesses by participating in the campaign. All right now, there's a lot of, at the moment, there's some interest in the online technical grant and the downtown building lighting grant. Wow. We're at 43%, top priority being the online technical grant. Also, for those of you who are here, there is a sign and banner grant that was authorized by the DDA board last week at their regular meeting. It will reimburse you $100 for a sign or banner that you need, if you need one, in order to communicate to your public how you are doing business. And it can be, we're here for you, online ordering, and put your website, by phone and put your phone number. We do curbside delivery, and whether that's by appointment or which days that happens, all of that kind of information can be put on a sign or a banner, and we will reimburse you for that. All right. It didn't change. It's the tech grant and then the lighting grant. And then after that, we go down quite a bit, down to 16% for the community reinvention team and the historic preservation facade grant. Okay. Nobody thinks this is going to take, any of these will take too much incredible effort. The opinion is that the online tech grant and the lighting grant will have the best impact. Moving on. Okay, so these are planning documents. These are some of these were already planned, and some of them have been added since the plan was made. So I'm just kind of interested to know which of these things you think would be most useful. If you have any, I think they're the placemaking documents and plans. I think that is primarily kind of about the holiday decorating that we do. You know, what are we doing in the alleyway? What are we doing in the parks? What are we doing on the sidewalks? That's the placemaking aspect. I think the rest of them are kind of self-explanatory. If you have a question about one, let me know. All right, so the pedestrian safety plan has come to the top. Also guidelines. Now I want you to know that the guidelines for a DDA board recommendation about new development, we have site review meetings, you know, with developers all the time. And often the planning commission would like a recommendation from the DDA board. And it's just been kind of it's been unclear how do you objectively talk about something that is brand new. So yeah, and it looks like probably we'll be basing those recommendations on what is in the master plan that's being developed right now. But that's what that one is about. So we've got at 27%, there's pedestrian safety. At 22%, there's the recommendation guidelines for new development. At 20%, it's the walkability and inspection and maintenance plan, followed by placemaking and then historic character guidelines. All right, right now, number 3, which is placemaking, that is in the sweet spot over there. It's got high impact and relatively low effort. Number 4, pedestrian safety is somewhat in the same category, followed by walkability. Okay, so we just discussed all of these items, talking about placemaking, the things that we could, the changes we could make in the streets and the parks, pedestrian safety, all of the different events, business support, grants and scholarships, and our planning documents and policies. Could you please prioritize these according to what you think is the most important?
Molly, when you say, this is Elena, when you say streets and parks.
I am
what is-
talking, I am talking about the infrastructure changes that we discussed, like the rain garden, the sidewalk, the sign, the trees, and the dumpster. All of those things that those projects that we were looking at, I was classifying as streets and parks.
So does the street fall into that or into the placemaking?
Closing the streets would be in placemaking, in my opinion. We're creating more space for people to be. That's placemaking.
Okay.
Okay, so the events that we've been discussing, those seem to have, just as a category, a main category, that's the most important at 26%, followed by at 20%, both pedestrian safety and business support and grants. And then placemaking, at 17%, 13% streets and parks, and 5% the planning documents. Okay, so this is the last slide. Well, I don't know if it's the last slide, but this slide is the DDA priorities. This is not, we still will have to have the DDA board pick priorities and name them, and it will be outside of this this interactive website. But we're looking for your input, for everyone's input. So please just type in the priorities that you think we should have. And again, you can see on your phone, you can see that the existing DDA priorities that we have right now are pedestrian safety and lighting, parking and alternatives, walkability, and the farmers market.
Hi.
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 Matt, do you have a coworker with you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at that. Okay, so pedestrian safety is getting bigger because we've all, well, not everybody, but there have been enough people who have used that word that it got bigger. So did events and so did business strength. Close the streets.
I'm having a hard time being in. I'm not able to actually.
I'm sorry, Lloyd, what'd you say?
I'm not able to type anything in for some reason.
Oh. Well, you're a board member, so you're going to have this conversation with us again in just a moment.
Okay.
Can you see the screen at least?
Yeah, I can see the screen. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so for those of you on the phone, we've got pedestrian safety and events remain, our biggest words. But then there's close the streets, open air dining and entertainment, close the streets outdoor dining, and close streets. So I think that's four for closing the streets and I would call that a social distancing event. Yeah, and so 5, there's a social distance event. And then, for the music, we've got, music, sound system. So maybe just two about the music. Oh, outdoor speakers, excuse me. And outdoor speakers is a little bit larger. So, and then there's big business promotion and there's e-commerce. And then also there's, build community. All right, board members, has this given you enough input? Well,
Yeah, I think so.
okay, thank you. All right, are there any questions before we close this part down? Are there any questions or is there anything that we should, I guess this is kind of a public input here. If you have a question, go ahead and type it in.
Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
Yes.
Alan, if
Molly,
you don't mind,
Bill.
can you? Oh, Bill, are you able to just type it in? Can you do that or no?
Yeah, I zoomed it. I did all the everything. I have a couple questions though.
Okay.
When is all this stuff going to be incorporated? And who's going to be the person responsible to incorporate all this?
Thank you. That is a very good question. What is going to happen next is the DDA board will take a look at what the priorities are. We have our existing priorities. Do we want to change some of them or all of them? And then based on those priorities, that goes back out to the committees. Along with the suggestions that were made today about the different activities and projects. The committees will look at the priorities and realign what their activities are based on those priorities. Sorry, that's my clock. And then we have to adjust the budget based on what the work plans say, and then take it back to the DDA board. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
This is Elena. I would just say, I mean, we have to move fast. The economy is, I mean, things are getting reopened, and I know in Rochester, they're already, talking about the same things and as they are in many, many other communities. But from what I have experienced, I mean, our ice cream shop is open. And as I've told you and Joe and others, people are clamoring to get outside. They're getting takeout from downtown. They're coming and they're sitting at our picnic tables, which is awesome. I love it. Our trash cans are overflowing, which is great, but they clearly don't want to go home. So let's give them what they can do, but we've got to be on top of it quickly.
Okay, thank you.
Molly, I'm going to second what Elena just said about the importance of, I really think if we can do something where we can close the streets and allow restaurants to push into some areas on the sidewalks, have maybe the open alcohol districts declared, that would be great if that's something that we have an option to do. I just think that restaurants and businesses in town are just in dire need of being able to open. And that needs to be, I think, a primary priority. I know we're dictated by the executive orders, but as things start to open up, everything that we're doing needs to be planned quickly so that it can go into place in a very short matter of time. And so people can plan, whether they're the businesses or the restaurants, how to accommodate that additional need and push out.
And this is Elena, we need to contact Representative Riley and Senator Bear. We need to let them know that they need to support Representative Mike Weber's bill so that we can have some relaxing of the liquor laws so that we can do this. Our restaurants are not going to survive on 25% or 50% capacity. They won't.
Molly,
Yes.
this is Debbie. We just recently purchased 2 acacia wood benches that we are putting in front of our store. We're gonna build them over the weekend to create additional seating for people who are doing takeout downtown. But I really think that, I don't know how many of you had the opportunity to watch Small Business Main Street, and it's being put on by the Deluxe Company. And they're actually going into communities and investing $500,000. And one thing that you continue to see over and over again, where they bring in music in a downtown and they create additional seating spaces. And with all of this that's going on, and we don't have a lot of seating, but if you look at the different businesses, you can create seating almost in front of each business and it would meet the requirements for safe distancing. I'm just thinking there's creative ways if we really worked at. I mean, we spent less than $500 on 2 benches and they hold up to 350 pounds each. Now, it's not a $2,000 bench, but a couple people could sit on that bench and eat takeout or have ice cream or something where we could encourage people to stay downtown. Just a thought.
All right, Kristen, I think, could you go back to, it looks like we've got 2 comments in the chat. I didn't notice that. Now there's 3.
Yes, the first one was from Matt Shell, apologizing for being late. And it looks like from Joe, the sound system would enhance the open air experience and live music and open mic nights, and make downtown an open air mall with music and activities.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And do I have to make you the presenter again? I think I do, in order to have what you had on your screen come up again. Okay, here we go. All right. Can you go back to the packet, please?
Yes.
Okay.
So down
Okay.
here.
All right. Can we go to the background information so that I can read it? All right. So, all right, as we can see, some of the items and the activities that we've been talking about have not been aligned with our current priorities. That's why we're looking at this. We need to, I want to say that pretty clearly, parking was not on the agenda at all. Nobody talked about that. That wasn't an idea or a concern or something that anybody was talking about. So I do think that that's one of the priorities that could leave. And I think, can you move it up a little bit so I can see all the priorities, please? Thank you. So that one seems like something, and this is up to DDA board members, but that is something that I think could go. I'm wondering if instead of farmers market, we want to say social distancing events maybe, or something along those lines. Something along those lines. And can you move it up a little bit more, Kristen, please? All right, so next we're gonna take the screen down again, and then she can bring it back up. I'm suggesting that we have 3 priorities, but you guys can decide if we need more than that. And let's close the screen now and just have some discussion, please.
This is Debbie. I just really feel like that we need to quickly, I had mentioned that, but I feel like we need to quickly put a plan in place so that the businesses know what they can expect and provide some encouragement to those who are currently struggling, or just like today, the governor said retail can open up. No more than 10 people, by appointment. I mean, hopefully some of these restrictions are going to be relaxed and we're going to be able to move forward. But I feel like we need to say, okay, if we don't know for sure when we're going to be able to congregate together, let's plan some safe distancing events and let's just get this planned out, up and running, so people can prepare for something rather just being on hold and the anxiety levels just continuing, and take advantage of the families who say, hey, we'll go out. We just prefer to be outdoors. We'll support the local businesses, but just tell me what local businesses are doing what, so we know where to go and how to support them. So if we have something in place, then we can rally the support, not only for the community, but for the businesses as well. Not only for the community, but for the businesses as well.
This is Bill. I have a question. Okay, has the DDA board asked all of the businesses to meet and to find out what they're looking for? Because, we've always historically had a problem keeping the retail businesses open, and it always looks like all we're doing is helping out the restaurant. So has anybody gone to these retail places and say, will you stay open till 8 o'clock? Will you put stuff on the street? Is it gonna bother you that we shut the streets down?
That's a good question, Bill. Thank you for asking. We have a business survey out. Haven't had a whole lot of response to it yet.
Maybe, I don't mean to interrupt you, Molly, but maybe the survey, surveys are historically low. I think maybe it's gonna need somebody on the DDA board to help you guys call each business and say, okay, we've got a couple plans. What do you think about it? Because we've always seemed to plan things, and then all of a sudden the businesses go nuts because they weren't in agreement. And I'll be more than happy to help talk to businesses about it.
Yeah, I can only speak for myself here. But I can tell you what we're doing. We're for sure gonna put items outside. And the reason that we're gonna do that is to draw attention to our store. It would be better if the streets were blocked off and there were people sitting out there eating dinner, because then I have an audience, I have a captive audience that are gonna automatically come and walk around. The reason I had said before to leave Flint Street open is because then you still have, automobiles driving up and down Flint Street, and they're gonna see down Broadway both ways, and they'll be able to see that there's a lot of, that there's people.
Yeah, but Lloyd, you've always put stuff out on every event that's there. I'm talking about, and I'll just use one as an example. The florist, is she gonna stay open, put some of her stuff out for the evening for people to see, or during the day?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because it depends on how much of their business they generate from foot traffic and stuff like that. She may be doing more online business right now, which was going to be the next thing that I said that, or say, and that is that, you know, I need to do more local online things. But as far as foot traffic is concerned and generating more stuff going on downtown and getting people down here, you know, we need to, you know, we built this town on the restaurants, really, restaurants and bars and everything else. And so that's what we really need to focus on. We need to, you know, talk to this senator or representative or whoever Elena had said and get moving on that part of it as far as I'm concerned. You know, we need to get the restaurants really involved. I mean, there needs to be individual meetings with Dda and Burge and whoever's in charge of Anita's Kitchen and find out what, you know, and tell these guys, this is what we want to do and get them involved in it. They need to buy into this, you know, and create that foot traffic to help businesses like ours, Green Hippo, you know, Cookies and Cream and so forth.
Monica?
All right, my thing is, Bill, you know what? As the DDA, our job is to get people to come downtown. We can't force the businesses to participate. And if they don't participate, there's nothing we can do. That's our job, is trying to get people to come down to downtown in the area. And then it's up to them to get them into their store or to put their product out to sell. If they refuse to do it, I don't know what to say.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'd like to stop this conversation now. I think it's been a good discussion. What Bill has said about our needing to make sure the businesses are going to be okay with our closing the streets is absolutely true. That is absolutely a bone of contention under normal circumstances, and we need to make sure it's not now. Oh, are you saying you can't hear me? Can you guys hear me? Has everyone been able to hear me? Okay. Okay. So it sounds like maybe social distancing events and circumstances that can create that event is an important thing. Is that something that board members, by raise of hands, that you think should be? Okay. All right. And then moving on to the next thing. What's next after that?
Molly, I just want to this is Joan. I want to make a comment. You keep using the word social distancing, which is contrary. Elena used the word safe distancing, and I find that much more palatable and inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And because we want people to be social. So I just think the semantics are important, and I wanted to bring that up.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Molly, to your question, I think the next thing that came up large on the you put up was, and it stays, I think, is safety and lighting.
Okay. Pedestrian safety or just lighting?
Pedestrian safety and lighting, I think.
Okay. All right, board members, does pedestrian safety stay on our list? Okay. And somebody will have to say this as a motion at some point, but we're still talking. I wanted to ask, did the farmers market turn into safe distancing events? Is it going to be incorporated with that? Or do we keep it separate?
I think it's part of an event. I would put it in with that.
All right. What about lighting? Are we going to continue making lighting a priority?
Molly, originally we have pedestrian safety plan and light. So are you going to separate that now?
Yeah, I think So, well, all right.
I think Lisa needs to mute.
There, okay. Can you read them to me again? I can't see them. Or Kristen, could you put them up for a second?
So number 1 is pedestrian safety plan lighting. Number 2 is parking and alternatives. Number 3 is walkability. And number 4 was farmer's market.
Oh, right, okay. So I guess when we were talking about the pedestrian safety plan, it was all about the lighting. So I guess it would still be, I mean, if we want to keep it that way, it would still be all about the lighting.
Yeah, I think one stays, maybe becomes second priority. First priority, I think, is clear what we talked about with safe distancing or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Does safe distancing include the sound system? Because I know there was a lot of support for the sound system too. Or does that need to be its own?
Oh, yeah, I think it should be its own. I think it should be, you know, like placemaking enhancements or
Sure.
placemaking would be, it would fall into that kind of category. Okay, go ahead, Kristen. You can take that down again. Thank you. I was concerned with the website that I would overload the system. So that's why there's 2 presenters today. All right, so so now there's the lighting is something that we could keep. And do you all want to keep that? All right, and then okay, and then the other new thing is placemaking. Which would include the outdoor music and extra tables and chairs and things like that.
Hand sanitizers.
Yes, yes. Okay. All right. So when we think about how the money is spent, at the moment we're talking about putting the more staff time and focus and dollars towards safe distancing events that bring people into the downtown area. And then what comes after that?
I think it needs to be the placemaking.
Mm-hmm.
Ties into one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Does everyone agree? Or is there a different thing that?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. What's third then?
Your pedestrian safety lighting.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a fourth thing? Is there something that we're leaving off that we should include?
I think those are priorities. If we get to other things, then great. But I think we need to focus on those things, especially right now.
Right.
All right. All right, Kristen, if you can bring it back up so somebody can read the motion. I'm just going to cheat sheet it a little bit here, just to verify. So we're saying set the following as the 2021 Dda priorities. Number 1 is safe distancing events. Number 2 is placemaking projects or placemaking. And then number 3 is pedestrian safety and lighting. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to set the priorities that Molly just listed as the priorities.
It's a roll call.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Debbie?
Oh, Debbie. Okay.
Monica? I'm having difficulty, I'm sorry.
Hey, Kristen, take it down again, please.
I can't see everybody, so it's hard. All right, so that was Matt and Monica, right? Okay. Burgess?
Yes.
Russo?
Yes.
Cole?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Shell?
Yes.
Portia?
Yes.
And Young?
Yes.
Motion carries 6.
Excellent.
Thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
Okay. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get my computer to bring up the spreadsheet for our recovery plan.
I still have it up if you want me to present it again.
Okay. Are you still listed as a presenter?
Nope, I don't think so. Oh,
Okay,
there we go.
There you go. All right, and just go to the tab that says My Safe Start Plan.
There we go.
Okay. So I kind of feel like we're hovering between stage 3 and stage 4. I'm kind of wondering if maybe we're considered in stage 4. Does anybody know? Because we're allowed to have small gatherings now. All right, well, let's just pretend we're
Sorry, I
at,
was on mute. Small gatherings were approved immediately, so I think we must be in 4.
we must be in 4. Okay, good. All right. Okay, then really what we've got, all the things that we've talked about, we can start right now. All of the things that we talked about. Can you move over to so that we can see 4, 5, and 6, please? All right, so post-pandemic, that's the flower fair, big event that's going to happen post-pandemic. Hometown holidays, we're hoping that all of the things that we do during the holidays, we're still going to be able to do in some fashion. And if, and we'll just modify if we need to. As far as the summer goes, it sounds to me between organization and the promotions committees, they've got some organizing to get done. And I think that all of the things that we talked about probably can start right now. I mean, if we're in number 4, we can just start them right now and proceed. And all of the events that we had planned, we were just modifying based on what we thought we would be able to do. And obviously, we were trying to read the future, which is not easy to do. So it keeps changing, and we keep trying to go with the flow and make those changes as quickly as we can. Thank you very, very, very much for all of your input. Is there, when you look at, I mean, we've got all the projects that we just talked about, and we can move all of those into this plan. Are there other things that should be on this plan other than the events and the placemaking projects that we discussed?
I think there's one thing that we need to make sure of, and that is the cleaning of the town. Kind of like what, Elena was talking about, her trash can is overfull all the time and stuff like that. But I think in general, whatever we can do to really make sure we're keeping everything clean, and maybe it means, asking for volunteers and things like that, so it's not too much of a burden on the DPW, especially if we end up having outdoor eating or outdoor tables and things like that.
I agree with Lloyd. This is Lisa. I think we may need to look at maybe some additional trash cans if we move in that direction where we're having more dining and eating where people are traveling through town.
This is Elena, and Joe, I just want to recognize that I saw you getting the trash on Saturday. Thank you. I wanted to run out and give you ice cream and you were gone already.
Thank you. Yeah, well, we can add more trash cans, but it's Saturday, holidays, I don't want to pay DPW a 3-hour minimum overtime to come in and empty 6 trash cans.
Okay, Joe, let me ask you a question. If we get volunteers to do that,
We can.
where do we take the garbage to? And is that gonna get you in trouble with the union
No.
because
No.
non-union people are throwing garbage
No.
in some places?
No, I think what I've been doing is I empty the trash cans and tie them and leave them right there because they'll pick them up on Monday. So
But
we
is
don't
that,
have to
is that,
transport
going-
them.
but is that, again, I could do that with you, not a problem, but does that go back to now we're putting garbage out where people are walking around, they see it, and then they walk over it, and somebody kicks it?
Yeah, no, I know, but the problem is if you tie the bag, you know.
Oh, I agree. I just don't want you to get in trouble, Joe. That's the
No,
only thing.
no, we're not gonna get in trouble.
Okay.
Our DPW people are thankful for what we're doing and everybody working together, so they're about keeping it clean and safe.
Okay, I just don't want you in trouble.
No,
And
don't
Joe,
worry.
Sorry.
Joe, this is Elena. We'll commit to taking care of those 3 trash cans that we can see.
And we can get you the trash bags to replace it, you know.
So there
Okay.
may be a couple other options also, and that would be, using WAM whenever possible. And I don't know if there's also, community service hours that, high school kids still need and all that. I don't know how that all is working out, but those are a couple other options.
You're muted, Molly.
Excuse me. Have we covered everything that we needed to cover?
Did that second motion pass or not?
No, we're reviewing it right now. We're reviewing it right now. Is that Joe who asked? And I mean, if you would like me to spend the time, we can put all of the projects and the events in this plan right now, or we can say that it's all going into stage 4 and progressing, or stage 3 and progressing, whatever. Do you have a preference? Do you want to go through them right now?
No, I think what you said was fine. I don't think we need to go through them all.
Molly,
Sorry. Okay, so Elena says, agree, sound system, live music, mic nights, etc. would really create an ambience and attract people downtown. Yeah. All right. So let's go back to the agenda so someone can read the motion or modify the motion. Here we go. So if you can read that, somebody volunteer.
Oh, I thought we did that one. No?
No. I make a motion to approve the first draft of the Lake Orion Reemergence and Recovery Plan and submit to committees for review and work plan and to develop work plans.
Support.
Susan, can we have a roll call?
Yes, hang on. Sorry. Trying to make changes. Caruso,
Screen down, please.
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
I can't see. Unmute.
Yes.
Kristen, can you take the screen down?
Thank you.
There we go.
Marcia, Marcia,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Burgess,
Yes.
Poe.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you, Susan.
Okay.
So I think we're ready to adjourn then.
Make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
Third.
Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you in favor.
All
Aye.
right, thank you.
Aye.
Molly, are we gonna have meetings for the